22. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Burkett,
Present.
Fiorentino,
Present.
Lamarca, present. Scarpino,
Present.
Stevens.
I am here.
Thomas,
Present.
and Zettler.
Present.
You have 7 board members present.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing, 1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body, 2, parenthesis 1, number 2, litigation, 2, parenthesis 11, and 3, security procedures, school building safety and security, and the use of personnel to respond to an actual, a threatened, or a reasonably potential danger to the safety of employees, students, staff, the public, or public property, 2, parenthesis 8. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Lamarca, aye. Stevens.
Aye.
Zettler.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Scarpino.
Aye.
Fiorentino.
Aye.
Burkett.
Aye.
Okay. Folks, closed session now. The first thing that we do is have a closed session. So we will be back right at 6:30. So if you need to use the restroom or something, please feel free to do so, okay? Thank you. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education, I would like to thank you for being in attendance both virtually and in person for tonight's board meeting. At this time, I would like to reconvene the meeting of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education to order for Tuesday, September 27th, 2022. Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Burkett,
Present.
Fiorentino,
Present.
Lamarca, present. Scarpino.
Present.
Stevens.
Present.
Thomas.
Present.
Zettler.
Present.
You have 7 board members present.
Thank you. For those who have watched our board meetings both in person and over the internet, you will remember we have rules of decorum. These rules serve a purpose so we as a board can have a meaningful and productive board meeting. In order for this to occur, decorum must be maintained. The rules for decorum are as follows. First, there's no need for anyone to call out comments during our meeting or to raise their voices, nor to interrupt another speaker or presenter. We as a board will listen to you and we will be respectful. We will consider your comments, but will not dialogue or engage with speakers in this forum. Board members may choose to discuss matters brought up during public comments during board discussion. However, I need to remind everyone that this is a board discussion and the board will not dialogue or engage with anyone other than the superintendent and other board members. I just ask you to please be respectful and civil and courteous during our meeting. Second, if a person chooses to be disruptive, I will gavel the person and ask them to please stop their disruptive behavior. Additionally, our district safety officer or his agent may warn them that if they choose to continue their disruptive behavior, additional consequences will be forthcoming. 3, if a person chooses to continue to be disruptive and not follow the rules of decorum, they will be removed from our meeting. This action is a direct result of the person's choice to be disruptive. Fourth, we as a board will respectfully listen to each speaker. Just because we didn't vote the way some wanted us to does not mean we didn't listen or take into consideration what you had to say. Please remember, we all learn differently. Some of us take notes during presentations and therefore take our eyes off the speaker. It does not mean we are not listening. And fifth, in our effort to accommodate the ability for more seating in our boardroom, we respectfully request that the audience remain in their seats throughout the duration of the meeting, with the exception of using the restroom or speaking at the podium. I want to thank you in advance for your cooperation, and the board and I look forward to a meaningful and productive meeting. Superintendent Harkin.
Yes, I'd like to invite up Miss Nancy Regal to introduce the Perry Elementary students to lead us in the pledge. And Miss Rowling as well, too. I didn't know you were coming in the back. I'm like, where is she? So Miss Rowling as well, too. Principal Rowling.
Good evening, Superintendent Harkin and Board of Ed members. I'm happy to introduce to you 7 outstanding students from Perry Elementary. All of these students take their role as a student very seriously. They know that a good, solid education is important. These students are at school every day, giving 110%. They are good friends to others, and they show a very high amount of respect. I would also like to thank and recognize their parents or guardians that are with them tonight on modeling the importance of school, and would like them to stand as we recognize their student. Right next to Ms. Regal, we have Dallas Tidwell. And her sister, Tam Tidwell. And Mom, if you could stand up. Next, we have Caden Raymond. Katie, if stand up. Tyre Bailey. Mom. Then we have Emily Angelus. Mom, if you could stand. Then we have Benjamin Lara. Mom and Dad are here. And then we have Lily Orozco. Mom is here. Perry students, if you'd like to face the flag, please. If everyone could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
And then have the kids come up here. Yep.
Loud and proud. Very cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know, right? I know, it was so sweet.
And again, we want to thank the kids and the parents for coming this evening. We appreciate that. We have one deletion on the agenda. There will not be a need for a second closed session. So do I have a motion to approve the revised agenda?
So moved.
Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Fiorentino,
Aye.
Zeller. Stevens,
Aye.
Burkett,
Aye.
Scarpino,
Aye.
Thomas. Lamarca, aye. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Item number 6 is the public hearing for the 2022-2023 budget. We are opening the public hearing for the 2022-2023 budget. Ms. Porter will provide a brief overview of the 2022-2023 budget.
No, it's over there. There's two of them.
I don't see this. She's going to give her.
Good evening, Superintendent Harkin, members of the board, and community members. I'm here tonight to finalize the FY 22-23 education plan, also known as our budget. As you recall, I have shared the tentative budget, and we have met several times to review this budget that is in front of you tonight. Tonight, we're going to go through a brief overview of the assumptions, projected revenues and expenditures, and what our expected fund projections are. First and foremost, I want to let you know that this budget is designed to support our students to discover, innovate, and succeed. Since the approval of the tentative budget, all of other assumptions have remained the same with the exception of an increase in the corporate personal property replacement tax by $2.1 million and an increase in the evidence-based funding by $3.8 million. This budget was built to capture the maximum extension limit of 5% based on the 2021 CPI of 7%. Starting in October, which is just around the corner, we will be providing scenarios for the board to decide how the tax levy will be developed. Here we're going to go through the projected revenue sources for the operating funds. Property taxes have increased due to this year's EDA coming onto the tax rolls. Other local revenue consists of increased earnings on investments and the additional CPPRT, which came in which was much higher than we expected. State revenue is based on our evidence-based funding, which is at a base of $67.4 million. And other state revenue includes ALOP funding and transportation. Federal funds are related to title estimates and projected use of ESSER funds. Again, just as a reminder, ESSER funds will sunset in FY 2024 unless they are extended. Here is just a chart that shows how our revenues come in. We show that 65% is made up of local funds, 26% is made up of state funds, and 9% is made up of federal funds. As we go through the operating funds projected expenses by category, you'll see that salaries per our negotiated agreements and health and benefits are roughly 5%. Purchase services increases are based on contracts which include transportation and food service. And please note that pretty soon you will be seeing the transportation and food service bid coming up later this year. Non-capitalized equipment recognizes the Chromebook annual lease payment, and this budget does take into consideration the cost of inflation for fluctuations in expenses such as fuel and utilities. Here we look at our pie chart with our operating expenses. As you can see, salary and benefits make up 73% of our operational expenses. 17% of it is purchase services, 6% is supplies and equipment, and 4% is for other objects such as tuition. When we look at our revenues and expenses together, factoring in our assumptions along with our budget requests, we are projecting revenue of $326 million and $313 million for expenditures, along with a transfer of $2.8 million for debt payments. This will leave a surplus of $9.9 million for our operating fund. Per board policy, the district aims to maintain a threshold of 30% of annual expenditures. Here you can see the anticipated percentage is 41%. Please note that we are using the projected beginning and end fund balances of our FY22 as our audit has not been completed. When we look at all our funds, so this is including our debt fund and capital project fund, we are projecting a $360.7 million in revenue and $365.6 million in expenditures. Adding all these funds together shows a $4.9 million deficit. This deficit will be funded through the capital projects fund balance. As we've previously shown in years past, here are some of the district financial highlights. This slide shows how D300 is operating expense per pupil stacks up against the state average. The blue bars represent the state average, with the red bars representing D300. As you can see in the chart, D300 per pupil costs are consistently under the state average and was under $2,100 below the state average for 2021. If you take that amount and multiply it by the district's average daily attendance, the district would need an additional $40.2 million to meet the state average. This slide shows how D300's operating expense per pupil stacks up against the King County unit school districts. As highlighted in red, D300 has one of the lowest per pupil spend of the district and spends $5,400 less than the top spend school district. If you take that amount and multiply by our district's average daily attendance, the district would need an additional $86.4 million to spend as much as the highest district, which is Batavia. And finally, this slide represents the 2021 tax rates for the King County school districts. As highlighted in red, D300 has the 4th lowest tax rate for King County school districts. Between 2020 and 2021, the tax rate dropped a nickel, and historically it has dropped for the last 8 years. I've included here a couple of pictures from all of our high schools on the graduating classes. The district's newly adopted vision statement is to empower and equip each student to reach their highest potential in their chosen pathway, and that is what we are using our funds for. We continue keeping a close eye as there are a lot of unknowns at this time, and that could potentially impact the district's operation. the economy's overall health and related financial impact, and the current labor demands is larger than the labor supply. With the continuation of robust board financial policy, finance committee oversight, and commitment to maintaining fiscal stability, we believe the district is poised to maintain its solid financial position going forward. Later this evening, the board will be asked to vote on the 22-23 budget, which will conclude the budget process for this year. Are there any questions?
Board members, any questions? Yes, sir. Mr. Stevens.
Susan, I can't find the email right now, but you sent an email out that said that we had received $200,000 unexpectedly, and you put it into the capital fund. I just want to, as we approve the budget tonight, I want to kind of reserve the right for the board to reallocate that money at some point.
Sure.
If we choose to.
Yeah, absolutely. That was just my recommendation.
No, I
It hasn't
understand.
been reflected here at all.
I just
so.
want to be on the record, that's all.
Okay. Okay. Any other board members have any questions? No? Thank you very much. We will be voting on the approval of the 2022-2023 budget later in the meeting under roll call items. Is there anyone who wishes to speak regarding the 2022-2023 budget? Mr. Tennis, Mike Tennis, Mike, has signed up.
My name is Mike Tennis from Sleepy Hollow. Board members, please consider the following questions regarding revenue and expense assumptions that Jennifer just presented in this year's proposed budget, calling for a $360 million in revenue and $365 million in expenses. The questions that have been handed to you, I did receive a response when I got into the meeting room this evening, and I'll try to incorporate some of that in the limited time I have to speak. With over $170 million of cash on hand as of the end of July, and half the property tax proceeds not yet received, and the Federal Reserve continuing to increase the Fed funds rate 75 basis points every time the Federal Open Market Committee meets, 1.7 million increase in interest income in the assumptions is extremely conservative, and Jennifer commented that those increases were not incorporated in the budget you have. That was prior to the Fed fund increases. According to the Illinois report card, D300 enrollment was 21,100 some students in 2018-19, declining to 20,586 in 1920, 19,008 in 2021. Fall enrollment report from the Illinois State Board of Education shows 20,300 about. And according to a note I just received from Jennifer, fall enrollment for 2022 is 20,523. Basically, it's been flat enrollment over the last few years. And the student, what concerns me is there's a continual cause for district staffing and expenditures to rise disproportionately with the flat enrollment trend. Property tax abatement was mentioned in the joint committee meeting, but is not included in the budget assumptions. Yet a 5% capped property tax increase is assumed. With the district's very strong financials and Bloomberg indicating a 98% probability of a recession is imminent before the next tax levy is collected, why not offer district taxpayers some relief in 2023 and incorporate that in the budget, not talk about it after the budget? What does the salaries budget assumption per negotiated contract assumed regarding less than full staffing and turnover of tenured teachers. I understand new hires are employed with less experience, education, and lower salaries, and that is incorporated in the budget, but the assumption on turnover is unclear to me. What is the capacity of Big Timber Elementary? I understand is 1,288, and enrollment this year, 383. I don't know what the incremental operating costs of those changes are. My recommendation to this board, expenditures are proposed to increase over $14 million compared to the preliminary actual expenditures for last school year. Consider holding the rate of increase in budgeted expenditures to about 3% or $10 million and lower the proposed expenditure budget to approximately $361 million, slightly more than the proposed revenue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tennis. Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding the budget?
Can I?
Yes, sir.
I would just like to say, and Mrs. Harkin, please correct me if I'm going down a wrong path here, but many years ago, when this district did not tax to its maximum capability, it cost this district millions of dollars that can never be recouped. So we tend to tax to the maximum allowable by law, but I want you to also know that we are very much in the market for tax abatement, and that does not have to happen at this cycle. But I, for one, am all for tax abatement, and I've been in discussions with that. And so I would just say stay tuned. We are looking at it. But if we were to not increase to that 5% level, as you mentioned, we're hurting ourselves in the future because everything is compounded on. And we learned that the hard way back during Mrs. Crate's tenure.
Any other public would like to say anything? No other public? Okay, we are now closing the budget hearing, and thank you, Mr. Tennis, for your comments. I appreciate that. Superintendent Harkin, recognition.
So, this is always an exciting night to recognize our staff in the district. So District 300 Board of Education has the honor of recognizing staff members who have served the district for 30 years or more. During tonight's meeting, the board will recognize individuals who have reached milestones of 30 and 35 years of service in District 300. And on behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to thank each staff member for their tremendous dedication to our students and to our community. And at this time, we'd like to begin with our first recognition for Bethany Bialis, or Beth Bialis. Beth, if you, I'd like you to ask you to please proceed to the front of the room, and I'll say some words. So our process will be is we'll have you come up. You can stand actually right here in front. We didn't even put you up there. We put you right in front. And I will tell you, you know, I've had various opportunities to this last year to work with staff members. And you know what, I will tell you, Beth is a perfect example of somebody, even though she's been 30 years, is still very dedicated and passionate for what she does here in the district. And I've really enjoyed working with you this last year because your passion and commitment to the district shows through over and over again. So thank you for that piece, because I've been able to interact with you directly. So congratulations to Beth. Do you like Bethany or do you like Beth? No, I'm going to say Bethany, then Bethany Bialis, who currently serves as a French teacher at Jacobs High School. Bethany is celebrating her 30 years here in District 300. Jacobs Principal Barb Valley has shared the following about Bethany. During her 30 years of service at Jacobs High School, Beth has served in many roles, including club sponsor, French teacher, Spanish teacher, and dean of students. Didn't know that about you. In every role, Beth always puts students at the center of what she does. Her passion and enthusiasm for helping young people are evident in all aspects of her interactions with students. She is always willing to go the extra mile to help a student be successful. She will be greatly missed when she retires at the end of this year. And at this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Bethany's 30 years of service to the as part of our acknowledgement, we give these people tonight a plaque and a certificate to thank them for their years of service with the district. So I won't mention that every time, but we do want to acknowledge her impact to our school system.
See you again. Can't believe you're retiring.
Thank you so much.
You as well. I look forward to working with you the rest of the year. Thank you so much. You're welcome. All right. Fantastic. All right, next I would like, I would like to have Lisa Bialis come up to the front and stand in front of us. So congratulations to Lisa Bialis, who currently serves as a first grade teacher at Eastview Elementary School. Lisa is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Eastview Principal Dr. Megan Buchanan has shared the following about Lisa. Lisa was a student at Eastview as a young child and now is one of our wonderful first grade teachers. She has spent her entire teaching career at Eastview. Lisa does many things for Eastview, but one special thing is she helps organize the butterfly event each year. It is wonderful for staff and students to watch the insects grow from caterpillars into butterflies. Lisa always goes above and beyond for our Eastview students. Lisa's students describe her as nice and fun. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Lisa's 30 years of service to District 300. So one thing with Lisa that she pointed out to me, and I don't always remember,
Congratulations.
my most precious pictures this year was holding the baby chicks when she gave them to me, because it's been a long period of time, and that was a really neat day. So thank you very much. There you go. This is yours. Thank you. All right. Next, I'd like to invite Kimberly Duffy up to the front of the room. So I do have different connections with all of you. So congratulations, Kimberly Duffy, who currently serves as 6th and 7th grade math teacher at Dundee Middle School. I might have had 3 kids that probably were in your classes, so I know at least one of them was. Kimberly is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Dundee Middle School principal Leo Labrie has shared the following about Kimberly. Miss Duffy is one of the many reasons that DMS is a great place to be. She's an absolute delight to work with, and she has the unique ability to make anyone laugh at any time. Ms. Duffy is also the type of person who will help out anyone at any time. She helped drive and continues many initiatives at DMS, like our Living Pink ribbon photo. DMS would not be the same without Ms. Duffy. When she decides to close her laptop for the last time, we'll make sure we have another laptop waiting for her when she returns to sub at DMS. Thank you, Ms. Duffy. The staff and student are lucky to have you. And at this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Kimberly's 30 years.
Congratulations. Thanks for your service.
Congratulations. You seem surprised when he suggested that.
We haven't talked
No, I can tell. But think about it, think about it.
Congratulations. All right. So, next, I'd like to invite Colleen Hanatho up to the front of the room. So congratulations to Colleen Hanatho, who currently serves as a school social worker at Hampshire High School. Colleen is also celebrating 30 years in District 300. Hampshire High School Principal Dr. Brett Bending has shared the following about Colleen. Colleen has been and continues to be an invaluable resource to our students and staff at Hampshire High School. In my experience as a school leader, her ability to help students solve problems and cope when faced with personal crises and mental health concerns is unmatched. She's a great role model for students and does a wonderful job sponsoring our GSA club. Thank you for all that you do for our school community. And at this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Colleen's 30 years of service. All right, if I could have Lisa Hastings.
If I could just add one point to Colleen. Colleen and I have shared many breakfasts together. And I also want to say that at one time she served as a union president and is a very strong advocate for teachers and for this district. So thank you for your service, Colleen. Appreciate it.
All right, Lisa Hastings, if you'd come up, please. All right. So congratulations to Lisa Hastings, who currently serves as a 4th grade teacher at Eastview Elementary School. I'm getting a little nervous. There's a lot of Eastview Elementary School people that are on this list. So Lisa is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Eastview Principal Dr. Megan Buchanan has shared the following about Lisa. Lisa has been a kindergarten, 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teacher in the district. In all her positions, she has always strived to do what is best for children. She shows them love in the way in which each student needs it. And she has been a parent of District 300 students and always worked to be an active member of each school her daughters attended. Lisa's students describe her as kind and nice, and they say she's always smiling. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Lisa's 30 years of service to District 300. There you go. Thank you so much.
Susan, if I may just add one thing, if Mr. Zerzan were here, Mr. Zerzan would say, and there are teachers at the Blue Ribbon
Yes,
School.
yeah.
So congratulations to you guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Next, I invite Pamela Johnson up to the front of the room. So congratulations to Pamela Johnson, who currently serves as a 3rd grade teacher at Liberty Elementary School, and she's celebrating 30 years in District 300. Liberty Principal Marlene Munoz has shared the following about Pamela. Miss Pam Johnson has built a legacy in our district, but especially at Liberty Elementary School. Her students enjoy the many lessons about reading and math, but they really enjoy hearing about her love of baseball. She is a huge Cubs fan. Ms. Johnson is respected and loved by her colleagues, families, current students, and former students. Everyone at Liberty Elementary is grateful for her collaboration, support, hard work, devoted to our Liberty community. Congratulations, Pam, on an incredible career and the 20 years of service at Liberty Elementary, which is, you're only there 20 years because it just celebrated its 20-year anniversary, so she was new to that school when it, yeah, absolutely. So at this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Pam's 30 years of service. We have a pretty good, big group tonight, so bear with us as we do it, because again, this is really important for us to recognize the service from these staff members to our district. So Jackie Lukasic, thank you. So, thank you. Lukasic, okay. So congratulations to Jackie Lukasic, who currently serves as a cross-categorical resource teacher at Algonquin Middle School. Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh, that's awesome. Thank you. That's awesome. Jackie's celebrating 30 years in the district, and Algonquin Middle School Principal Jason Lentz has shared the following about Jackie. What better way to recognize Ms. Lukasic for her 30 years of service than by hearing from another veteran of 30-plus years of service who worked with her for her entire career and was recognized last year by our board, Mr. Steve Pittner. Mr. Pittner shared the following about Jackie. Working with Jackie for over 30 years has been an honor and a privilege. Jackie has demonstrated deep compassion for some of our most challenged students. And by the same token, she has been open and honest with them about her expectations for their success and what it will take for them to be an equal partner in their education. Part-time mother, part-time life coach, Jackie has always had an interest of our students front and center. The imprint that Jackie will leave on Algonquin Middle School will not only be a lasting one because of her passionate commitment to her students and education, but she will also leave big shoes to fill as she prepares to begin a new chapter in her life. At this time, there's a computer coming her way. I invite the audience to celebrate Jackie's 30 years of service.
You seem excited.
Oh, thank you for 30 years of service to our kids. Here. All right, I'd like to invite William Peterson up to the front of the room here. And a funny story was Mr. Peterson invited me to his classroom today. Little did I know, he says, I'll see you later tonight. And I asked staff to just invite me so I can participate. And I was like, oh my goodness, I got to see you firsthand. So that was my first experience with you. So it was an awesome experience that you provided for your kids. So congratulations to William Peterson, who currently serves as a social studies teacher at Dundee Crown High School. William is celebrating 30 years in the district. Dundee Crown Principal Katie Wachowski has shared the following about William. Mr. Peterson prides himself in being able to make clear connections between his course and the real world. Saw that firsthand today. There are few teachers who draw students in as learners in the way that Bill does. There is overwhelming demand for his law and justice course, in part because he brings the class to life with guest speakers, field trips, and stories. Bill can also be found on the sidelines at so many extracurricular events. He is always there to support the Chargers. Our students are so lucky to have Mr. Peterson as a teacher. So at this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating William's 30 years of service. All right, Kevin, come on up. Congratulations. I invite Kevin Picorni to the front of the room. So, congratulations, Kevin Picorni, who currently serves as a fifth grade teacher at Eastview Elementary and is celebrating 30 years in the District 300. I'm going to say what Megan says, but I'm also going to add a few extra words as well here, take my latitude here. So Eastview Principal Dr. Megan Buchanan shared the following about Kevin. Kevin was a District 300 alum and is now nearing the end of his educational career in District 300. One special thing Kevin has done at Eastview is create and organize the annual 9/11 celebration. It is arguably our favorite day of the year. For more than 2 decades, Algonquin Police and Fire, as well as veterans, are honored by staff and students with a ceremony and an unbelievable breakfast event at there, thanks to Kevin. Kevin's students describe him as kind and funny, with many of his students sharing that he literally is the best teacher they have ever had. And I will tell you, when we knew that Mr. Zerzan was retiring at Eastview Art Blue Ribbon School, this staff, and like I said, it is really amazing to hear that there's this many of you that are close to retirement, because they were very passionate about finding their next principal. And Kevin reached out to me on multiple occasions and just committed and dedicated to making sure that they got the best candidate, and has since then reached out to me in my role to support me, as well as, definitely is supporting Dr. Buchanan as our new principal there. And I just know it's just really great to see that sort of commitment and dedication to our school district, and specifically Eastview, our Blue Ribbon School. So thank you, Kevin, for all you do. So at this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Kevin's 30 years. All right, Mr. Skillman. And my connection with Mr. Skillman was he was the wrestling coach for my sons that attended Dundee Crown High School. So there you go. So congratulations to Robert Skillman, who currently serves as a social studies teacher and assistant coach for football and wrestling at Dundee Crown High School. Robert is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Dundee Crown Principal Katie Wachowski has shared the following about Robert. There are few teachers who dedicate more time and energy to our school than Mr. Skillman. Bob lives and breathes Charger pride. In addition to the time and effort he puts in as a social studies teacher, Mr. Skillman can be found here most evenings, weekends, and often on summer days, working as a football and wrestling coach. We are lucky to have Bob as a teacher at Dundee Crown. This time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Robert's 30 years to District 300. All right, Mrs. York, come on up. Diane was a teacher of my kids at Sleepy Hollow Elementary School, so there you go. Must be old home night here. Good to see you. So congratulations, Diane York, who currently serves as a STEM teacher at Hampshire and Newbert Elementary School. Diane is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Newbert Principal Jennifer Breeze has shared the following details about Diane. Diane York is truly an inspirational educator. She has played many different roles in District 300 and has embraced each role with true passion. Diane is a role model to other educators because of her hard work, dedication, and commitment to excellence. She is an outstanding educator who has high expectations for herself and for her students. She works tirelessly to ensure that her students are successful and develop a true passion for lifelong learning. Diane has made a significant impact on the lives of young people in the District 300 community. Thank you, Diane, for your 30 years of outstanding service and dedication to our District 300 students. I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Diane's 30 years of Wait. All right. And now we'll celebrate our two staff members that are celebrating 35 years in the district. So Shar Cross, would you please come on forward? So congratulations to Shar Cross, who currently serves as an education service generalist at Central Office. Shar is celebrating 35 years in District 300. Chief of Education Services Shelley Nackey has shared the following about Shar. Shar has played an integral role in supporting and transforming special education services in District 300. She has provided support to parents and students with her ability to connect with them and provide them with available resources. Shar's wealth of knowledge in multiple areas of special education has made her a valuable leader to district staff and a mentor to her colleagues. Her job has become extremely challenging. Shar works with a lot of art trying to find outplacements for our special education students, and I know the job has become extremely difficult in this current labor market, and I just know that you always do your best and find the resources for our staff, and I just want to thank you because that is a tough job, and they're the most important students that we really need to make sure get the services, and I know your heart has always been there for our kids, so just want to thank you. So at this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Shar's 35 years of service. All right. And last but not least, I'd like to invite Michael York up to the front of the. You have some common with the previous York at all? Yeah, maybe. Well, so you're sitting next to her. All right, so congratulations to Michael York, who currently serves as a language arts and social studies teacher at Hampshire Middle School. Michael is celebrating 35 years in District 300. Hampshire Middle School Principal Jim Shimshak has shared the following about Michael. Mike York spent several years at Hampshire Elementary before arriving here at Hampshire Middle School.
Yes.
Over the years, he has consistently connected with kids and provided a positive influence in their lives. We are thankful to have had him as part of the school community for so many years. How many years, you may ask? Well, on back to school night earlier this year, one of his current students came up to him with his parents, only for Mike to realize that one of his parents was a former student. For a parent to want their child in Mike's class based on their own experience speaks volumes as to the positive impact he has made on so many lives in his career. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Michael's 35 years of service. Congratulations, thank you. And that concludes, so yes, whatever you would like.
Susan, when I worked in the central office as associate superintendent, I know many of these individuals. Let me tell you, you guys are great. You are, each one of you, and I truly appreciate you and I respect you. Thank you very much for everything you've done. Thank you. Thank you.
I love it, that's awesome.
Was it? Okay. I heard there was a judge, but I didn't hear
You know what happens when I turn my mic off, which I just did, I think it affects everybody else's.
Oh, shit, I've been in my job 32, so I know. 32.
I'll turn it on again.
4 years, can't wait.
Pension though, I had a.
Wow, that's not good.
Okay, as we move along, we are now on item number 8, the board announcements, the good news. Board members?
State Superintendent of Education, Dr. Carmen Ayala, visited District 300 earlier today. During the visit, Dr. Ayala spent time at D300 Food Pantry
DeLacy Family Education Center, Oak Ridge School, Parkview Elementary, and Carpentersville Middle School. District 300 staff provided information and highlights at each stop, many of which were familiar to Dr. Ayala, as she is a former District 300 employee. She complimented students, staff, and Superintendent Harkin at the end of her visit, noting she felt welcomed at each of our locations. It's like going down memory lane, but better, she said. The students are always amazing, amazing, amazing. And I'd like to personally thank our staff, both the school staff as well as an administrative team for just a successful morning with the state superintendent. Thank you very much.
District 300 launches new way to recognize outstanding staff members. District 300 is proud to launch a new opportunity for families to recognize staff members who have made a positive impact on their child's educational experience. The district's new A Note of Appreciation forum invites parents, students, and other district stakeholders to recognize staff members who have gone above and beyond to make a positive difference for students. Submitted notes of appreciation are printed and hand-delivered to respective staff members by central office administrators. Individuals interested in providing a note of appreciation can visit the parents page on the District 300 website at d300.org/parents. District 300 thanks the community for adding to its culture of appreciation.
Dundee Crown High School hosts 5th annual Get Out of Your Head Day. Dundee Crown High School hosted its 5th annual Get Out of Your Head Day last Thursday as part of its Fight the Stigma campaign, which aims to increase mental health awareness for students and staff. The theme of this year's event was Get Into Your Life, which encouraged students to get out of their heads, get engaged, and participate in their lives. As part of the day, students were able to select from dozens of interactive activities, including circuit building, creating digital art, learning calligraphy, and spending time with a therapy dog. Principal Katie Wachowski said the purpose of the event is to help students connect with other students and staff who have the same hobbies and interests, as that can help them cope with the stress that inevitably comes with high school life, as well as life in general. District 300 congratulates Dundee Crown for hosting another successful Get Out of Your Head Day.
District 300 alum contributes to Revolutionary James Webb Telescope Project. District 300 alum and NASA physicist Paul Whitehouse has contributed to a revolutionary space project. Mr. Whitehouse, a 1971 graduate of the former Dundee High School, spent much of the past 23 years working on the $10 billion James Webb Space Telescope project, specifically in the area of low-temperature refrigeration. The first images from the Webb telescope were unveiled earlier this summer in Maryland. Shortly after the first images were released, Mr. Whitehouse stated that it was surreal to think about the telescope actually operating in space. He said, "There were 23 years lost in the weeds and details, with unavoidable frustrations and a handful of slips in projected launch dates over 14 years. He continued, "But it came together, launched, and it works. A sense of pride and accomplishment is starting to settle in." District 300 congratulates Dundee High School graduate Paul Whitehouse on the success of the James Webb Telescope project.
Eastview Elementary School hosts annual memorial ceremony in observance of September 11th. Early this month, Eastview Elementary School hosted its annual memorial ceremony in observance of September 11th, 2001. The outdoor event was attended by local first responders, veterans, students, parents, staff, and District 300 leadership. Eastview Principal Dr. Megan Buchanan spoke at the event and recognized the first responders and veterans in attendance. Our Eastview community is grateful to have you here with us today, she said. Throughout the year, We always manage to create proud and memorable moments here at Eastview, but we all agree that this is our proudest and most memorable day of the year. District 300 applauds Eastview on its annual tradition of observing September 11th with a memorial ceremony.
Liberty Elementary School celebrated its 20th anniversary earlier this month with a back-to-school picnic. Students, staff, parents, and community members attended the event, which included a DJ, children's entertainment, a fire truck, a police car, photo opportunities, and a booth from the Dundee Township Park District. Additional events are being planned for later this year, including the retrieval of a time capsule that was buried in 2002. District 300 congratulates Liberty Elementary on its 20-year anniversary. Wright Elementary School has a special guest in attendance when it's marked its 15th anniversary on September 6th, which that just does not seem possible to me. That's been 15 years. It's unbelievable. Mr. Gary D. Wright, the namesake of Wright Elementary School, visited the building and received a warm welcome. During his visit, Mr. Wright, who served as principal of Hampshire Elementary School from 1988 to 2007, visited multiple classrooms with Superintendent Harkin and Wright Principal Dr. Melanie Gravel to speak with students and pass out pencils in recognition of the school's anniversary. District 300 congratulates Wright Elementary on its 15-year anniversary and says thank you to Mr. Gary D. Wright for taking part in this big celebration.
We're now at item number 9, public participation. We have had 5 people sign up for public participation. I will call each of you individually up to the podium. Please state your name and relationship to the district and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please note the following. Each speaker has been provided with the guidelines for public participation. Minors need to be accompanied by their parents or guardians. The board will consider your comments, but will not dialogue or engage with speakers in this forum. Questions raised may be assigned to the superintendent for an answer. As appropriate, a member of the administration may reach out to the speaker to give them relevant information or to ask for additional information. This is done to make sure the board has all the information needed to properly address the speaker's concerns. Charges, complaints, or challenges against staff members of the district will not be heard in open meetings and should be made in writing to the board and superintendent. We also ask that speakers refrain from personally attacking district staff or members of the board. Pursuant to board policy, this evening's participants must limit their comments to 3 minutes. We ask each participant to please be respectful to all individuals who have signed up to speak and adhere to the allotted time limit. We also ask that speakers conduct themselves in a civil and courteous manner and refrain from trying to engage members of the board in dialogue during public participation. Failure to abide by the board time rules or those found out of order by the board may lead to exclusion from the meeting, to be fair to all participants. We thank you for your understanding and your cooperation. Our first speaker for 3 minutes is Kim Shallcross.
Hello. 2 weeks ago, I was up here speaking on behalf of another parent. Today, I'm up here speaking on my own behalf. After the 2 public speakers were done speaking at the last board meeting, a board member spoke up regarding a proper time and place for some of what is addressed at board meetings during public speaking. First, I want to say thank you for speaking up. I appreciate what you said. I know there are issues that you have no control over, so when people bring those issues here, it probably feels pointless. But some speakers are not actually directing their commentary to the board. They are really speaking to those listening and watching the meetings. Likewise, there are others that speak to address what others are saying. So whether this is the time or place for certain topics, you will likely hear from me and others to vocalize our support and to stand with students who are marginalized, misunderstood, and even attacked by people in our community. As for something that is relevant to D300, I want to acknowledge that the staff recognition that Superintendent Harkin and her team have started. The first email went out last week, and I love seeing some familiar names on that list, as I have kids that were in D300 from DeLacy all the way to Crown. Since my children have graduated, I can no longer complete those forms, but there are staff that I would have loved to recognize tonight if the rules would have allowed me. Since I can't name staff, I'm just going to say that specific positions such as the social worker at ALES, the math teacher at AMS, the English teacher at Crown, a multimedia teacher at Crown, the orchestra teacher at Crown, a psychology teacher at Crown, and I know I'm forgetting other names, but some of these stood out to me and they would have definitely been on that list if this had been created years ago. In all honesty, while there were some hiccups over the years, both of my boys had great teachers and experiences at all of the 3 schools that they attended, 4th if you include DeLacy. Also, I just want to clear something up. Last week when I spoke, after I was finished speaking, a board member said thank you when I was done, and someone in the audience got upset because allegedly the person that spoke before me was not thanked. When I got home that night, I watched and replayed the meeting, and the board member did say thank you after both speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes is Catherine Grimonpré.
Good evening, and thank you for your time. My name is Catherine Grimonpré, and I'm a mom of 2 awesome grown sons who attended this school district from 1998 to 2008. I now have a granddaughter and grandson whose parents are considering if they will place them in this same school district or not. I first want to say that I am an elected board member as well at my church in this district, so I can relate to the weightiness of your positions. And in that weight, I have found that there is good old-fashioned responsibility and accountability, first to the God of heaven and earth, who never changes, and to all those you are called to serve. I too was at the last meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it was said by one of the board members that those concerned with the laws and policies of gender-neutral bathrooms and locker rooms in our schools should take it up with the politicians and not the school board. As a District 300 citizen, I totally agree with making our voice heard with the politicians, and it will be. But it doesn't give you a pass to not fight for all of those you are personally elected to represent, neutrally, consistently, and morally. You are the first line of defense for families in this district, and we are thankful for our right to speak and know we are heard. I commend you for opting out of the sex education curriculum in this district, and thank you so much. I ask you to let the collective voices of those who do not want the gender-neutral, equitable restroom act in this school district to be heard in Springfield or wherever else it needs to, for you to represent on this board those voices too. This restroom locker room issue is not bringing unity, but anxiety. Those children who want privacy while in a private moment, just like it's always been, deserve that God-given right. Please allow all the children that dignity. There is a better solution to all of this mingling of genders, which to some who are confident in their created gender feels forced, offensive, and distracting, while they're supposed to be in an atmosphere of reading, writing, and arithmetic. We do look to you, Community School Board District 300, to find peaceful solutions. We know they must exist. You are prayed for, and may Jesus Christ himself lead you in wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes is Sharon Fetting.
Hello, my name is Sharon Fetting. I'm a parent of 2 kids in Jacobs. First off, remember, opt your children out of all surveys. Do not let them survey your child. Opt them out. The surveys are used as a way to continue the goal of creating a social justice cultural in schools and continue policies that lower academic achievement. Allow school to use surveys as a way to collect mental health data on students. The other thing is, do not call your kid in for a mental health day. I read another district is using, if you use 5 mental health days, then a social worker will meet with your child and the school does not need to notify your parent. I actually went into District 300 and tried to find out if that's the same with the district here. I couldn't find exactly the day. I clicked on some of the links, and the only link I found was the Illinois State Board of Education Wellness Department it led me to. And on there it says, a school may refer students to appropriate school personnel after the 2nd mental health day. Parents, do not fall for this. If your kid doesn't feel like going to school, you want to give them a day off, just call them in sick. Do not have the mental health day. My other question is I'd like to know why the school lawyer is sitting on the board. Now, I know everyone else isn't getting paid here, but I assume she is. How much is that costing us? This didn't start till about January, I believe. I started looking at the videos. You'll be getting an email to find out how much she's been getting paid to sit on the school board since she's not an elected member. And I'm sure she's probably $300 or $400 an hour. I'm not sure, but I'll find out. And on the case of the bathrooms, let me just say, I always hear about empathy from you guys. What about empathy for the 7-year-old little girl who doesn't want the little boy in the bathroom with her? Why are we concerned about 1 or 2, but not the majority of them? If someone is confused about what gender they are, then the school needs to provide a bathroom, maybe the teacher's bathroom to go into for now. But for you to push that on our kids, to me, what the end game is, you're desensitizing children to think this is normal. To think when they go into a restaurant at 8 years old and they walk into a bathroom and a man behind them follows them, they're not gonna have that sixth sense to think, wow, this is wrong. And something bad might happen. You are desensitizing our children to something that they shouldn't be desensitized to. We should have girls and boys' bathrooms. And if they have a confusion, then let them use the teacher's bathroom. I don't understand why this is such a big deal. Anyways, thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker for 3 minutes is Christina Constanti.
Hi, I'm Christina. I've got kids in the district, and I want to say one thing. I'm really happy to see the plexiglass is down, so thank you for doing that. I couldn't make it to the last board meeting, but I was reviewing the video, and something spoke to me. Actually, Mr. Joe Stevens spoke to me. You spoke open and honestly regarding some sensitive topics. I really wish that more board members had the courage to speak their minds so candidly in front of us in the community. So thank you. And Mr. Stevens, you also mentioned that you hope some parents were listening at that meeting, and I was. I do get riled up and I'm assertive, especially when it comes down to honesty. After all, that's the main reason why I show up here. The trust, policies, laws, and our parental rights have been broken many times, and I take it personally. You made a declaration as a board member that we can't change the law. We didn't make the law. We're enforcing the law as we see it. Well, I disagree on the enforcement. You also said you wish that you all, as parents, would become more politically active in getting laws changed, and many of us have. I'm currently on 2 campaigns, and I'm a precinct committee person now, and I owe that a lot to what's happened here at the district, so thank you for that. The district's job is to protect and educate our children, is what was said. And also to quit being so damn political.
Ma'am.
Mr. Stevens, I was
No.
quoting him.
No, 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 I am telling you, please, watch your language.
That's a quote
Please.
from Mr.
I
Stevens in
was
the last
not
board
here.
meeting.
I was not here at the last board meeting.
I have footage.
I'm asking you to please stop and just continue because you're wasting your time. No.
Can you rewind the?
I did say that you
Thank
are
you.
quoting it correctly.
Okay, thank you. Continue.
Thank you. He also said it has no place in this arena. Well, it does have a place in this arena, a big place. There are laws, policies, and parental rights that you are legally bound to abide by as a school district. When you did not give our children due process and you forced them to quarantine, mask, and isolate, you broke the law and you were not protecting our children. When the only recourse is to report you to the Attorney General's office to abide by your own policies and laws, that's a problem. When we have to hire an attorney to make you follow the law, that's a problem. When we win the legal case and our own attorney runs to become the next Attorney General for Illinois, vowing to hold accountable elected officials, including all government and school boards, that's political, and it completely belongs in this arena. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now on item number 10, the superintendent report.
Don't you have one more? You have one more. Anna Law Martinez.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anna Law Martinez. I'm sorry.
Good evening. I'm a former student and now a parent. This is seriously so hard. As a student, I would always rely on my parents to look for the best in me. Now, as a parent, I know what it's like. And all I know is that this district has failed my student. Medically, it's been proven. Data-wise, it's been proven. We've been told on and off that they're going to provide her the help that she needs. And I also have siblings in the district that have been on the borderline of suicide, and still the district denied any help. Never reached out. It was left to my parents. It is now to the point where we had to withdraw my 11-year-old autistic brother because he's not getting the services. He's getting bullied. It's been a week that he's been withdrawn medically and proven with data that he needed the service that he is not being provided. My daughter has had brain surgeries, countless medical issues. When she entered this district at DeLacy, was provided only a 504, even with data, with anything, and nothing helped her. She is a third grader with the mentality of a preschooler, and they still are denying her things that she needs. My brother, and I am speaking on him because my parents have tried everything. He's a sixth grader at the level of a pre-K, and that still does not sit right with the district. I get the roundabout. I've gone to every meeting. I've been an active parent, have looked for outside services, have looked for everything. I know it is not the district's responsibility to raise my kid, but I do, like Christine said, I do rely on the district to give my daughter the proper education that she needs besides the medical necessities that she has. And I've been let down, and it's disgusting. Because I, as a parent, my husband has tried everything to get her the help that she needs. And all the district tells me, you need to wait. It was medically proven that she needed to be in a self-contained classroom. Been waiting 3 weeks. And what have they told me? Friday, they had a meeting without me. I know the school team, and I know they want the best for my daughter, and I truly appreciate them from the bottom of my heart. But I also know that my daughter needs what she needs.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Shelley, I would like for you to please, are you on it? Okay. Do you want to, are you going to be conferring with her at all, or you are? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd just like to make a couple of comments. First of all, Madam Lawyer, I'm sure that you would be very happy to receive overtime pay, but I want to clear up that correction that she's not being paid to sit here. She's on salary, which means if she works 20 hours a day, 5 days a week, she gets the same pay, or if she works 5 hours a day for 5 days, she gets the same pay. So that is not an issue. And I'd also like to respond just a little bit. I appreciate the fact that we have differences of opinion. I appreciate the fact when they're presented in a cordial, conversational tone. I don't appreciate it when people get up here and shout at us and are really not talking to us but are talking to the audience. That kind of bothers me. And I do believe that there's a lot of conspiracy theories here and people who sometimes buy into that. I personally would like everybody to take a deep breath and step back and try to appreciate the other person's position. I can tell you I do try to do that. I don't always end up appreciating that position, but I do try. And I would hope that that would be something that would be mutually beneficial by everybody doing it. As far as the bathroom situation, I'm still trying to wrap my head around understanding it, but it is the law. I do believe we're following the law. And in the locker rooms, I know that there are privacy spaces available if anyone wants to use them, whether they are whatever sex they identify with. They can use that privacy area. So it's not like they have to be out in the open. But this issue is not a new issue for this district. We have had children like this in our district for years without issue. It's just now becoming more public, and people are all of a sudden sensitized. But a comment that I made, I don't believe I made it here, I believe I made it somewhere else. This is not the word I would really like to use, but I don't know what else to do, so please excuse me. But bigotry starts at home with the parent. It doesn't start with the child. A young child in kindergarten or first grade doesn't recognize that they're a different race than the other child. The children don't have a problem. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't, some do now, but I'm saying that ask yourself, what are you teaching your children at home that make them that way? And I'm not saying they shouldn't be concerned. I'm just saying make sure we aren't passing our own prejudices. We all have them onto our children. We all have them. I have them, you have them, everybody has them. And so I think the issue that we need to try to work on is getting rid of those prejudices. And those are hard things to do, but we're trying to work on it. And we are here for more than just reading, writing, and arithmetic. We are here also to help that child be well-rounded. And that includes mental health, that includes social workers. We talked about a social worker here tonight who's been here for 30 years and all the good that she's done. It took me a long time. I've been on the school board for many years, and it took me a long time to recognize that the school district is in fact a social service agency. It's not just reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I think that we have the best darn staff of teachers who recognize that, who get to know those kids. They take them under their arm, they love them, they do whatever they can for them. And I think, frankly, we're doing a pretty good job. Could we do better? Sure. And I appreciate anybody that wants to tell us where we could do better. That's fine. I assured the woman tonight that just spoke about her child not getting the services she needs, you will be followed up with, and we will hear about what that answer is. Yes, you will be followed up with. Yes, you will. I'm telling you, you will. You will be followed up with. I can't dialogue with you, but you will be followed up with.
Thank you.
So I do want you to know, we do listen, we do hear, we don't always agree, but anytime you want to dialogue with us outside of this meeting, feel free. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. We're now at item number 10, the superintendent's report, please.
Yes, I'd like to invite up to the podium Sheila Crotty-Kagan to talk about our Choral Festival and commissions.
Good evening, Superintendent Harkin and members of the board. Usually when I come up to speak with you about our fine arts programs, it's to tell you about something that's already happened. So I decided to do it a little differently this time. I actually wanted to draw your attention to our upcoming choral festival because it's a big one. We are very excited to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the D300 Choral Festival. This event, featuring our 8th grade choir students from all 5 middle schools and our chamber and varsity treble choirs from our 3 high schools, is always one of the highlights of D300's performing arts events. This year is a little extra special because it is our 50th year hosting this event. To commemorate this celebration, we have commissioned 2 original pieces of music to be premiered by our own students and conducted by 2 of the composers. The choir teachers and I submitted a grant to the District 300 Foundation for Educational Excellence to fund this project, and we are very pleased that they approved this grant and have been so supportive of this project along the way. To be honest, the 50th anniversary should have already taken place, so we're very excited to be back at the Hemmons and celebrating it this year, and the foundation has been amazing to work with throughout this process. Our goal in writing the grant was to really celebrate our vocal music students and program and give them a unique and special experience. The combined chamber and varsity treble choirs will perform Raise Your Voice by Mike Engelhart and arranged by Paul Langford. Mr. Langford will be one of our guest conductors, and the 8th grade choir will perform Courage by Marty Servatka. I put up a little bit of information about each piece for you, along with some of the lyrics. As you can see, we went with a theme of courage and resilience, and our students have learned a lot about those 2 things over these last few years, and we're very excited to bring these pieces to our audience. So I did want to share the event details on the next slide, along with information on how the community can purchase tickets, which are now on sale. We're really excited. We'll be back at the Hemmons in Elgin. It's a beautiful theater. The last time we held it there, we filled the entire place out, honestly. We almost sold out the main floor, which was incredible, and we're hoping to see a great turnout this year as well. And because it is the beginning of festival season, I also wanted to take a moment to highlight all of the upcoming District 300 music festivals. It's a very busy time for us, starting tomorrow with the West Side Strings Festival at Jacobs High School, and we also have the East Side Strings Festival at Dundee Crown High School. Additionally, we have the D300 Marching Band Exhibition, which is a really fun event because our 3 high school marching bands perform their shows on one of our football fields for each other. This year, the host site is Dundee Crown. And the admission for this event is a non-perishable item for our D300 food pantry. So it's always a great opportunity to serve our community. Okay, thank you so much for your time, members of the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Shelley Nacky up to the board to talk about family engagement opportunities. And Shelley, there should be a clicker over there to advance it at your pace.
Yes. Thank you. I was supposed to be up here with Mr. Harries tonight, but unfortunately he was unable to attend due to a family emergency. So please be patient if I stumble through slides that I learned to present just a few hours ago. So family and community engagement opportunities. We all know that families and schools working together helps develop that child for when the child thrives, and we increase those opportunities. So this is what Henderson and Mapp spell out for us in research. Just so everyone also knows that this is important to all of us in education, to the point where every administrator has our professional learning standards for educational leaders that works on standard 8, which is meaningful engagement within that family and community. That meaningful pairing together are ways to help promote each student's academic success and well-being. So if we continue to dig down in research, research says that developing structures that encourage meaningful family and community engagement in a systematic ways to integrate into a school district through operational functions are able to incorporate these through things of a strategic plan, are grounded in this process to be able to help engage our parents with our schools for student success. And to all of your credit, with our community and everything, we have been able to do that and embed this within our strategic goal number 4 of ensuring that all parents, guardians, students, staff members, community members, and taxpayers have a voice in guiding our decision making. So what are some of those ways that we can help gather community stakeholders' engagements? So this can be done at many levels, one of them being at the building level. So some of you, because I know you've been a booster on some of these, at our high school and some of our secondary schools, we have that of our athletic boosters. So they look to support the high school athletic programs through volunteering service and financial support for our programs, but they also focus on maintaining the history and traditional excellence of academics, character, and sportsmanship. So many of you are aware of our Hall of Fames that we have at our high schools that are an example of some of the work that our booster clubs do. And let's be honest, also the lovely spirit wear, right? So the Fine Arts booster, as we just heard about our choral festival that's coming up, our Fine Arts boosters also have that same support for our high school programs in the fine arts area. And they maintain the history and tradition of excellence as well in those performing arts. And I believe that Mr. Ferrantino, I think you were involved as a parent. And then what most of us know at the building level is our parent organizations and committees. This is whether it be our PTOs or our PTCs that have that connection between the district and our parents. Our PTOs and PTCs can be found on the website on that. So what do we have at the district level? We overall have about 5 district levels right now ongoing. So the first one being our Family and Community Network, our FCN. I am getting used to this one. It used to be our former parent universities, which used to be our former parent liaison group. This one it's been over 15 years that this one has been in existence, and we partnered with our family liaison, Judy Ruffalo. It really started in special education and our special education topics and has grown over the years to really look at not just supporting special ed topics, but also other topics that may address student needs. The goal is to provide training and workshops for parents and community members to support students. This is geared towards our parents. So just last week, we had the opportunity to run an IEP 504 and ISP overview. We had 85 parents signed up for this, and 35 of them showed up, and it was a great night of sharing information, answering questions, and that. We also offer topics, and all of our topics are developed through our parents who attend. Towards April and May, we survey parents of what are some topics that you want to see for the following year. So actually, because of COVID, we couldn't do this for a couple of years, so this is about 2 years old, but our parents did ask for substance abuse and prevention, so we will actually bring in our partnership with Rosecrans and have them present to parents of what are some of the things that they could look for or help if they have a substance abuse. We also bring in a lawyer that works on guardianship and special needs trusts. This is especially important for our parents who will have students transitioning to the age of 18 and into the world after high school, after their 22nd birthday. So how do they help support that? And then our most popular topic that generally when we run this one with ADHD, and this year we'll be expanding to DMDD, which is a mood dysregulation syndrome. That is usually our highest attended parent university or family network because we bring in an outside therapist to be able to give tips and strategies on how do you help a student stay focused on homework and things like that as a parent. So like I said, we do partner with Judy Ruffalo, and this team is led by myself, the education service team, and Judy. We generally meet about once a month. In some topics, we do have 2 a month. So we have those opportunities. Our next one is our African American Parent Advisory Committee, APAC. APAC is a committee that's open to all parents and community members, but discuss topics focused on issues that impact the Black and African American community. They serve the needs of all students and families and community members to honor the knowledge that people have in various cultures and have different experiences. They ensure that the African American parents and community members can have a space where they can share their experiences, be heard, and validated. The ultimate goal is to provide that support to those individuals within the community, and this committee is led by Adrienne Harries and members and the teams of the academic, and they do meet the last Monday of each month.
We're excited about that one.
Is that our technology individual right there? There you go. Thank you.
The Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee, BPAC, is a bilingual parent advisory, is the district-sponsored organization centered around interests and needs of the bilingual student and parent. They engage the bilingual parent and students to engage in that and the process within D300. They provide the supports for English language learners, EL programs at the schools as well as at the district level. The BPAC team meets 5 times a year. Additionally, each Title I school meets monthly with their BPAC, so this is one that crosses between the school and the district to focus on issues and to support the students related to bilingual needs. This is facilitated by Jorge Aldemarvaro and David Rojas in our title program. Our new one that we are starting is the LGBTQ+ Parent Advisory Committee. The LGBTQ+ Parent Advisory Council is a committee of parents and guardians of the LGBTQ+ students and parents and guardians. They will be responsible for collaborating with the inclusion department to better support the needs of these students and their stakeholders within the school. The goal is to provide education and support, partner with families, and to surface and address school-related needs and building that sense of community for all the stakeholders. The LGBTQ+ PAC is facilitated by Sydney Osborne and members of the Inclusivity Department. They will be hosted monthly on the second Monday of each month. And I'll turn this over to Superintendent Harkin.
So, you know, the purpose of tonight is just to show that we have various ways that we engage with our families. And then the last one that we have is we developed last year our Parent Advisory Council, which is a place to then engage with our all of our parents in all of our schools. And I'm really proud to say we'll have our first meeting tomorrow night. We have a couple people in the audience here tonight that are going to be joining us, and I'm excited to have those people participate in that meeting. And we do have representatives from every school on the committee. And what we do with it is we engage, we talk about, you know, what input, what feedback do we use to help shape the decisions of the school district. And we also use it as a tool to educate on various topics as well too, because we know that ultimately decision making is beyond just even our purview here at the district. It's at the state level. It's, you know, certainly a lot of school code and different rules and regulations exist for school districts that we need to follow, but certainly there's things though that we can shape and inform and provide that feedback here to the board to inform our decision making on how the school district is run. So ultimately we set up at the first meeting what topics do they like to discuss, and then we engage in that conversation. I'm excited tomorrow night to talk about how we'll kick that off again this year. Last year it didn't work probably as well as we wanted to, but by the end of June, we had a really consistent process of about 20 to 25 people showing up to provide input, and they really helped us shape the strategic plan that we voted on and work through all of you. So it is facilitated through my office, and we have central administrators that are there, and we generally meet the Wednesday following the first board meeting of the month. And like I said, I'm really excited that all 27 schools have one person that has signed up. And really what I think is important, we're a very diverse school district with a lot of different opinions, and we really try to do our best to make sure that we engage and help facilitate conversations to best service all students and all parents' needs. One thing I'd like to follow up with is what we will be doing, and this was a recent conversation that we had, is just to make sure that information on these committees is prominent on the district website. So going forward, where we have our education sessions that are being put on by our Family Community Network, I think that's what it's called, FCN, we will be putting those presentations, at least the format of the PowerPoint presentation on the website. There is confidential information that's shared about students in the discussion and dialogue. That's the beauty of a lot of these, but we will be putting those presentations up. We will be posting these meetings on the district website with minutes and also presentations that are taking place, just for the purpose of ensuring that people understand what's being discussed. We're not looking to hide or be not transparent. I really believe that was some good feedback that we received, and we will be putting that more prominently on the district website so people can see what is happening. And certainly we encourage people to participate and be part of these groups to help give us feedback on these important areas of how we support our families.
I do know that there will be board members at this specific meeting, and I just want to let those individuals in the audience and also those watching, board members are not going to be making decisions on behalf of the board. We will be there as ourselves, single board members. If 3 or more board members attend, we will not be sitting with each other. We'll not be dialoguing with one another. I just want to make that perfectly clear to everyone. We're there to learn and to listen. We are not there to make decisions on behalf of the board. So, thank you.
So anyway, so we just felt it was important that we're really trying to work to provide various opportunities to support families, and I look forward to having another successful year with all of these groups, because I know it is important for our overall. If we go back to the research really shows that when we work collectively together, we have a stronger system and we improve student outcomes through that process. Okay. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you, Shelley.
All right. So then, the last piece, again, we're just trying to show, we definitely do want to take feedback. We want to provide opportunities to engage with our stakeholders. So this was a presentation we did last year that we want to talk about, how do we best problem solve and address needs in our schools with our students, with our families. So just as a reminder, we do have a chain of command policy that I'm required to provide as part of our board policy. I develop an organizational chart, which is on the district website, indicating the channels of authority and reporting relationship. And we really encourage everyone to follow kind of the process as we move up the chain, because it's firmly our belief that when we address problems closest to the problem, but there's a really good chance of that problem being fixed systemically in our system. So the first step, what we ask is when an issue arises, to contact the person closest to the problem. We ask if it's in the classroom. You start out with the classroom teacher, and we'll talk about that and move it up the chain, and we've got a process. If it's something that is outside the classroom, we ask that you work with the principal, but ultimately we ask if something's happening in the building, the best place to start is in the building. With 27 different buildings, with over 2,700 staff members, I appreciate people reaching out to me, and I certainly would love to solve those problems, but I know if I solve them, it's not going to be solved in the system, and the best place for us to solve. I'm happy to hear about them, and if we see a pattern of behavior, we're absolutely going to address it, but we really encourage people to work as close to the problem and the situation to really address the issue. We strive to resolve all concerns as quickly as possible. I'll tell you, last year, we got a lot of emails at a lot of different times, and it certainly, and depending upon the complexity of the question that's being asked, we try to respond as quickly as possible. When it's a specific student issue, we really do try to resolve that as quickly as possible. But bottom line is, sometimes we do have people that don't agree with our decision, but that doesn't mean that we haven't provided someone with a response. And just for clarity, I know this has been our policy as a school district. If someone emails the board, I will respond on your behalf. I think board members at various times, if they feel that the need to, they generally will respond back. But generally, our protocol is that I will be the designee, and I will make sure the board is copied on those responses. And I believe we've really worked hard this school year to make sure that that's being done on a more frequent and constant basis. So again, inside the classroom, our request for how we can move this and resolve it as quickly as possible is if you do have a problem in the classroom, we ask that you work with your teachers. Really, that's the best place because that's who's going to help solve that problem. If for some reason that teacher doesn't answer or resolve that issue for you, then we ask that you contact the building administrator. If that person doesn't resolve your issue, you can take it to the grade level assistant superintendent who's listed up there with the school that's assigned to it. If that person, you don't feel that you still have a response that answers your question, we do have our chief of schools, Chris Sainsbury. If that isn't resolved, we do have our deputy superintendent. And then certainly I'm the last person. And again, it's not because I don't want to resolve issues. I really truly believe all of these people oversee those employees in some capacity. And if we're going to address it and there truly is a problem, they need to be aware of that situation so they can make sure it's addressed appropriately. We also have, if something's outside of the classroom, you know, we would ask for you to contact the building front office staff first. They would then move up to the building administrator. And then if, depending upon the topic, we ask that you reach out to either education services, 504s, attendance, bullying, health services, IEPs, special education services, student disciplines. You have all of the people that are listed that oversee those areas of education services, similar with curriculum, support services, and legal and safety. If those people can't resolve the problem for you, then we do have central office department supervisors that can resolve it. And then if they aren't resolving it in the manner, then it would be on to Ms. Vicente and then myself as the representative. So we just really encourage, you know, we really want to build a solid system where, you know, we definitely want people to feel like their voices are heard, but certainly working it through that system creates the best place because those people always will have better information, are more closely able to even know how the problem should be solved. And as a district, again, the stakeholders may have to contact us to address a wide variety of issues. And so we're here tonight to talk about a new tool that we will be launching shortly. We're in the process of launching it, and Mr. McGinn is going to take you through that process of what that's going to look like and how we're going to use this tool and what it will be used for.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Education. Good evening, community. So as Superintendent Harkin stated, as a district, we understand that stakeholders may have to contact the district to address a wide variety of issues. So let's imagine that you're a parent and you have a student who participates in sports. You might have an athletics question, and maybe you don't know if you should contact the athletic director or the coach. In addition, you might also have a question about curriculum, and maybe your student's in special ed, and you have a special ed question. And then you could also have a question about student fees. And if you have these questions on a Friday when we send out a superintendent weekly update that can sometimes be lengthy, you may have a whole lot of questions at the end of that particular day. So we want to make sure that every parent in the district can make sense of these questions and know exactly where to go. So how can we make order of this? So we do have a goal for our stakeholders. And our goal for all stakeholders is to make the communication process as simple and as straightforward as possible. So last year, what we did, as Superintendent Harkin mentioned, we created those forms that are available on our website, and those are the communication guidelines for parents and guardians, and they provided a step-by-step process for issues inside the classroom and outside the classroom. So what we're going to do this year to build on that is we're going to implement a tool called Let's Talk. So we believe that communications can be an iterative process and that we can continue to get better each and every year. So we're taking what we learned from last year and we want to build on that for this year. So what is Let's Talk? Let's Talk is a platform that can be installed on our website to provide all stakeholders with a simple and straightforward process to communicate with our district. There are 4 main points that we need to know about Let's Talk. The easiest way to think about it is an extension that's added to our website. So when a stakeholder visits our homepage, they'll notice that there's going to be a Let's Talk button that's located in the right-hand corner of the web page, and that button's going to remain fixed on the web page. So as a user scrolls up and down, that button's going to remain fixed in the right-hand corner of the screen. Stakeholders can use the Let's Talk tab to communicate with the district, specifically by asking questions or providing comments. And then this is the most important portion. Let's Talk can especially be helpful when a stakeholder knows what they have a question about, but they don't know who to contact. So what is this going to look like? If you notice, this is an example of our website, and on the right-hand side, there's a light blue button. When a user clicks on this, there'll be a pop-up button that pops out. And let's say that this parent has a question about transportation. They can enter the category in the upper portion. They can go ahead and select, they have a transportation question. They can select what group they're a part of, so it could be a student or a staff. In this case, it's going to be a parent or guardian. And then they could leave a comment, they could leave a concern. In this case, the parent will be leaving a question. So let's, in this example, maybe this particular parent has a question about late start bus stop times. And I know we can't read it, so what the parent might be interested in is that this particular parent has a student at Westfield Community School who's on bus route 100. And they would like to know what time their bus route is going to occur, or their bus stop on a late start day. But they don't know who to contact. So they're going to fill this out. If they want to provide an attachment of their child's bus stop, they can do that. They can enter their contact information, and then they can send it. So I showed this a little bit earlier, and let me show you how Let's Talk will work on the back end. There's different categories, and if you look we've assigned each of these categories to a different District 300 staff member. So at the top, you'll see there's athletics, there's attendance, Board of Education, bullying. These so far are the most common questions that we have received, and we'll continue to build this out as we receive more questions. For the purposes of this particular presentation, in the bottom right-hand corner, this is a question about transportation. So we've assigned this to Deb Mason. So it will go up to our Director of Transportation, Deb Mason. And then if we follow this flow chart, here's how the process works. In step one, the parent has an inquiry or a question. In this case, it's what time will my child's bus arrive on a late start? Step two, they're going to fill out the form on Let's Talk. When they click send, it'll be routed to transportation. Deb Mason will receive it, she'll send a reply back, and then that will complete the loop. What's really nice about Let's Talk is that Deb Mason's response is going to have a rating system on the bottom. So the user is going to be able to see Deb's response and determine, great, I was able to determine specifically what it was. I will give them a 10 out of 10, or maybe if Deb's response wasn't particularly great, and I know that hers would, but hypothetically, if it were not, it could receive a lower score.
So work on it for the next time.
What's really helpful about that is that we can track how are the quality of our responses. Is the district providing our community with useful responses? And the other portion of this that's really important, if we notice that 100 different parents had asked questions on Let's Talk about late starts, we could figure out maybe there's a communication issue here and we need to provide a district update to our entire community. But we could also look at what schools are those particular Let's Talk issues coming from about transportation, and maybe it's just at one school. So at that point, we can make the decision, do we want to message just that particular school or send it out to the entire community? So this will give us a lot more information faster so we can respond to parents sooner. There's a 4-phase timeline to implement this. First is learning the system, and the person in the back, Casey, has been working really hard to learn the system. So thank you for your work on that, Casey. Step 2 is where we are right now. We're testing the system with a small group of internal users to make sure this works. So when we route something to transportation, is it actually going to Deb Mason? Step 3 is going to be testing the system with a broader group of internal and external users. So we know that these have to eventually get to community members who are not part of Let's Talk. Will that email get to them? And then finally, step 4 is when we'll launch. So that concludes the portion on Let's Talk. Looks like there's a lot of questions, and I'll be happy to address the best that I can. Yes. Go ahead.
So I think it sounds really fascinating and very interesting, but I was wondering, so and I know you may have simplified it for presentation's sake, but how you had all of the different categories going to like one person. So but then the example you used was for Westfield specifically. So this is for a parent, or we'll just say a stakeholder, who has a question about anything, if it's like specific to a school or general. I'm just trying to figure out, like, will it point, like if I have a question about Hampshire High School, will my question go to somebody at Hampshire High School that can answer that specific question? Or does it go to like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm trying to figure out
I do. I
how
think
it
Superintendent
works.
Harkin will address.
So initially, we're going to start it with this. Eventually, again, we're in a pilot right now to determine if this is a worthwhile investment, if it works the way. So initially, it's just going to be the central office. And eventually, if we decide it is working and tracking and giving us the data to really help us streamline communication, we may launch it into the buildings. So right now, the pilot is here. My assessment is there's a lot of big school districts that are using this platform already and see a lot of value in it. So exactly how you're describing it would really be nice to be able to launch it to the building level. But I think, so eventually that would be the vision if it works the way we hope it's going to work.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You picked on Deb to use her as an example, so I'll pick on Deb too, but don't mean this against Deb. But if Deb were to get all thumbs down, number one, who has access to that data?
In this case, Jennifer Porter, her direct supervisor,
Okay.
and Superintendent Harkin. So there's different administrative levels, so we can provide those. Superintendent Harkin would dictate who had the process to be able to see that, and Superintendent Harkin and any system administrator would be able to see it.
I'd be worried if it was Jennifer evaluating me. I'd really be worried because she's hard, but nevertheless. Is there an expectation of response time?
Yes, sir, and that would also be predetermined by Superintendent Harkin. At this time, it's 48 hours.
And not all of those will be possible, but at least
Right.
there'll be feedback.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
So initially, as soon as you submit it, there's a response that says we expect to try to give a 48-hour work when we're in the workday,
Right,
right?
good.
So that would be the
Good,
expectation.
thank you very
and that's
much.
where we'll
That's
start.
all.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
I have a question. So I'm looking, this covers a lot of topics from the drop down. What if I had, just as an example, a transportation question about an athletic event? Will it get routed, like and say I pick transportation and not athletics, and maybe it would have been more appropriate to put it in athletics, but I just didn't know because there's a lot of options. Will it get rerouted to the correct person then?
Yes, there's a check and balance system to address exactly that.
Okay.
So there's a back end that you could reassign it to somebody else and
great.
put that notice.
Because I could just see, like, as a parent, like, okay, well, is it teaching and learning or is it curriculum? You
Yep,
know,
and-
like, and some of those kind of, as a parent, might overlap in my mind and I might not pick the right one.
I see a lot
So-
of promise in this. I like
Yeah,
it.
but I think it's a neat idea, so.
The piece that a couple things that we think are really important are, it really, when we did make some changes recently, right? What's the real volume of questions we're getting out there? And if we actually did do it district-wide, right? Because there's a lot of emails that are going to a lot of people that I don't ever even know about. Most of the transportation ones I don't ever see, right? So it really lets us see what is the frequency of occurrences with specific issues, that are we seeing a trend, which really then can drive into what changes do we need to make in our system. So I do think, but for example, we are doing differently this year. I'm trying to track better the emails. So when we had the late start concern, we had 10 people that maybe inquired about what that concern was, right? And when you're getting all of a sudden during a certain specific time, it seems like a lot of people, but again, in a system are large, what really is the breadth of it? And then hopefully what we can do is then, we're already talking about some of the feedback we got with, moving to the late starts. Did we hear this as an issue? And maybe this is a change we need to make. And so I think it really can help inform our decision making again, because, right, emails, feedback, and everything that we receive, quantity, volume, all of that can help us give a data point, and I think this will put it all in one place that will help us understand really truly the impact and inquiries.
So I have a follow-up question then. So per the communication structure that you gave before for when an issue comes up, you went through who we email, right? Right. Would we be using this in tandem with that or instead of that? Like what would be the preferred method then? Should you be emailing your
So it will be
administrator, or would you
structured,
go through
it'll be
Let's Talk?
structured exactly this way. And we'll have actually 2 different places inside the classroom, which is the way and outside of the classroom. And then you'll have different drop downs that go with it. So we'll mirror this. I mean, ultimately, we're always going to respond to anybody, but if we can drive people into this portal to then, again, have all of it in one spot, I think that'll be a really powerful way for us to evaluate what we need to be doing.
Well, yeah, I think that makes sense and makes your argument stronger for going to the building level if you know that still someone higher up is going to still see that concern and see a pattern, right? And then be able to say, wow, this is happening at all of our middle schools. This is a bigger problem.
You got it.
So I think
Exactly.
that it makes a lot of sense together seeing these. So thank you for presenting them together because I think it gives a better picture as a parent as well of how it will all kind of tie together.
That's our hope.
Good
Yeah,
Yeah.
good job, good job.
And by the
Thank you,
way, I
Anthony.
asked Anthony to put in 2 slides, and he might have put in more than 2 slides, but I think he did a great job providing an overview of it. So I think he really did a nice job showing you kind of how the process works. So thank you, Anthony. All right, and that concludes the superintendent's report.
Okay. We're on item 11 now, the consent items. As a reminder to those in attendance and those watching virtually, some of these items have been previously vetted through either the Finance or Construction Facilities Oversight Committee, CFOC. Do I have a motion to approve the consent items under $25,000?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Lamarca, aye. Burkett,
Aye.
Zettler,
Aye.
Thomas, Fiorentino,
Aye.
Scarpino,
Aye.
Stevens.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Item number 12, the consent items over $25,000. As a reminder to those in attendance and those watching virtually, each of these items has been previously vetted through either the Finance or Construction Facilities Oversight Committee, CFOC. Do I have a motion to approve the consent items over $25,000?
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zettler.
Aye.
Burkett,
Aye.
Lamarca, aye. Stevens,
Aye.
Scarpino,
Aye.
Thomas, Fiorentino.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Item number 13 are the roll call action items, and I will read each of them individually. 13.1, approval of Teachers Retirement System Supplemental Savings Plan Resolution. May I have a motion for the approval of the Teachers Retirement System Supplemental Savings Plan Resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Zeller. Aye. Fiorentino.
Aye.
Burkett,
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Lamarca, aye. Scarpino.
Aye.
Stevens.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Item 13.2, approval of the fiscal year 2022-2023 education plan / budget resolutions. May I have a motion for the approval of the fiscal year 2022-2023 education plan / budget resolutions?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Stevens.
Aye.
Zettler.
Aye.
Burkett,
Aye.
Fiorentino.
Aye.
Lamarca, aye. Scarpino.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Item 13.3, approval of out-of-district travel, Jacobs High School Orchestra Choir, June 6th through the 9th, 2023. May I have a motion for the approval of the out-of-district travel for Jacobs High School Orchestra Choir, June 6th through the 9th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, board members?
Where are they going? It'd be nice to put on there where they're going.
They're going to Disney
Orlando.
World.
Orlando?
Yeah.
It was on the,
Hey, Zettler.
Aye.
Fiorentino.
aye.
Burkett.
Aye.
Lamarca, aye. Thomas.
Aye.
Stevens.
Aye.
Scarpino.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Item 14, board discussion. Any updates about the board committees?
Our next meeting is October 10th?
11th.
11th, October 11th.
Okay.
I would like to, because I was a little asleep at the switch, I'd like to just go back and make a couple of general comments with regard to the FOIA reports. I would like to recommend, if it doesn't cost us time and money, that we put the cost of what we're doing on there along with an annual of so far what we spent, because these are really expensive things to put together. If we can do that, it's not a mandate, of just putting it out there. And I think sometimes people forget when they put those FOIA requests in that it takes staff time, copy time, paper money. And then the other one was, I question the appropriateness of releasing quizzes and tests when those quizzes and tests might still be in use in other classrooms.
I will have.
Do we have to release those when they're still current?
We do not release quizzes or tests. That's one of the areas protected by. Although it may be requested, Okay,
that
so when
request
it
would be
says it was
denied.
completed, that doesn't necessarily mean we
That
complied.
records were provided, it just means the FOIA request was completed and closed out in the time. A response was provided.
Thank you very much for that clarification. That made me a little concerned.
Anything else, Mr. Stevens?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any board discussion about anything? I would like to add about our attorney. I'm the individual that asked the attorney to sit up here, and I'm the individual that asked her to sit next to me. No, she does not get paid extra for this, so it's, and this board understands that.
I think, though, it would be nice if you slipped her a few bucks.
Yeah, sure. Of the money that I get paid to be on the board.
Yeah, all right. Take it from your salary.
I'll take it from my salary.
Right.
Sure,
Right.
sure. Okay. Any other board members have anything? Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn, please? Thank you. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Settler. Aye. Scarpino.
Aye.
Burkett. Aye. Fiorentino.
Aye.
Lamarca. Aye. Thomas. Stevens.
Thank you.